Was America really willing to go to war over a pig? Apparently, the shooting of a pig in 1859 was enough to get the U.S. and British armies into a confrontation over disputed land boundaries. First, a little background. The Pig War of 1859 was a diplomatic conflict between the United States and Great Britain over the boundary between the U.S. and British Canada in the San Juan Islands, located between Vancouver Island and the mainland of what is now the United States, the state of Washington. Here's what happened. After the Oregon Treaty of 1846, the U.S. and Britain agreed that the boundary between their territories in the Pacific Northwest would follow the middle of the channel which separates the continent from Vancouver's island. The problem was that there were two possible channels, the Haro Strait and the Rosero Strait. And the treaty didn't specify which one was intended to be used. This left the San Juan Island in dispute because both nations claimed them. The incident, June 15th, 1859. On San Juan Island, American settlers and British employees of the Hudson's Bay Company lived side by side. An American farmer named Lyman Cutler from Kentucky had moved onto San Juan Island, found a pig rooting in his garden and eating its potatoes, so he shot and killed it. The pig belonged to an Irishman named Charles Griffin, who worked for the Hudson's Bay Company to run their sheep ranch on the island. Griffin, who owned several pigs, he allowed to roam freely, so it was not the first time Cutler found pigs rooting around in his garden. Because the two had lived in peace for years, Cutler offered $10, which is equivalent to $350 in 2024, to compensate for the pig. But Griffin was unsatisfied with this offer and demanded $100, which is equivalent to $3,500 in 2024. Following this counteroffer, Cutler rescinded his $10 offer and stated he believed he should not have to pay for the pig because the pig had been trespassing on his land. The pig's death led to angry words, threats of arrest, and soon both nations sent military forces to the island. American soldiers under Captain George Pickett, later Confederate general at Gettysburg, sent 66 soldiers of the 9th Infantry Regiment to command San Juan Island with orders to prevent the British from landing. The British on Vancouver Island then sent 3 Royal Navy warships under the command of Captain Geoffrey Hornby to counter the perceived Americans' infringement on Vancouver Island, thus angering Pickett, who said, "Make a Bunker Hill of it," in reference to the well-known Battle of the Revolutionary War. Fortunately, cooler heads prevailed. Both sides agreed to conduct a joint military occupation while diplomats settled the issue. The situation continued to escalate, and by August 10th, 1859, the enlarged detachment of 461 Americans with 14 cannons under Colonel Silas Casey were opposed by a flotilla of 5 British Royal Navy warships, mounting 70 guns and carrying 2,140 men. When news about the crisis reached the faraway capitals of London and Washington, D.C., officials from both nations were shocked at the potential conflict and took action immediately to calm the potentially explosive international incident. In September, U.S. President James Buchanan sent the U.S. Army General-in-Chief Winfield Scott to negotiate with the Vancouver Governor Douglas and resolve the growing crisis and prevent it from spinning out of control. As a result of the negotiations, both sides agreed to retain joint military occupation of the island until final diplomatic settlement was reached, reducing their presence to a token force of no more than 100 men. The dispute dragged on for more than a decade but stayed peaceful. In 1872, Emperor Kaiser Wilhelm I of Germany was chosen as an arbitrator, and his commission ruled that the boundary should follow the Haro Strait, giving the San Juan Islands to the United States. On November 25, 1872, the British withdrew their Royal Marines from the British camp. The Americans followed by July 1874. The Pig War is often remembered as a rare instance of bloodless conflict. The only casualty, fortunately, was the pig. Please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more.